Okay, we left bottom 642. Shari Tshuva 642. Chovos HaLevavos and Shara Tshuva. Ki ha-mechila titochen lo ad shinusa b'olam hazeh mima sheyuchal lasov leinokim me'avonosov. A person is not forgiven until he's tested that when he's punished and he's able to tolerate the punishment and he doesn't in any way bolt, then he's cleansed from his sins. No, it's interesting. A person, Mises Bezna Kori, is a person, it's only Yisurim. You have to have some level of suffering. If you ask the question why, you're not going to be forgiven. You know, I borrow $1,000 from you. A year later, I'm already past the due date, and the lender comes and says, "Could you play me? What do I owe you?" What do you mean, you borrowed from me? What do you mean, what do you owe you? He says, "Do you realize how painful, how difficult it's to pay $1,000? But if you borrowed, you owe me $1,000. As difficult it is. You sinned, and the only way it could be atoned, and you had remorse, is only by you have to suffer. What are you asking me a question? Hashem, what are you doing to me? What do you mean, what are you doing to me? You want to be forgiven? You have to pay the price. So part of the suffering to be forgiven is that you submit and you accept. That's a submission. It's a negation of your understanding and accept what Hashem does to you. Person violates a losase which has the liability of kores or death penalty and does tshuva. Yisurin memarkin umisam chaperes. Suffering cleanses, purges, and death atones. Shenemar ufakarati b'shevet pishom ubenegom avonam. Yeah. They will punish the rod of the transgression by plagues the sins. It's interesting. What's Shevet Pisham? Yeah, you will punish by the rod of their transgression. If you read the Ramak, we once studied this, the Torah Dvorah. To what degree, what is the basis for suffering? It's the sin itself. Person ingests something which the body can't process. So the body reacts to it, and there's pain. To what degree is it? To the amount that you brought into the body, the amount that you ingested. The degree of sin, the way you're going to suffer, it's based on the action itself, the intent of the action, whatever it is. It was inadvertent, deliberate, defiant, whatever it may be. Based on your background, you should have been aware, was careless, whatever it may be. But it's the sin itself, it's the quality of the sin. That will determine, so it's really, you're punished with the rod of the sin. The sin itself is what's punishing you. The reason why we don't die from after we sin, that's no say oven feshem chator. That's midas harachim. Hashem neutralizes, keeps it at bay, otherwise the person would die after you would sin. So when you do suffer, what does Hashem do? The midas harachman allows it. If there wouldn't be rahman, you would die. But Hashem allows it. He lets it affect you to a degree, sufficiently that you should be atoned. I want to say it's a question. The Torah Sa'odam, which is the Ramban, writes, David, listen to this question, that all Yisuri Eov, all the suffering and the trails of Eov, combined on that one moment of Gehenna. Not one moment of Gehenna is more than all the suffering and the trails of Eov. That's how painful Gehenna is. But yet, in this world, the Gemara says that if a person puts his hand in his pocket and he wants to take out one coin and takes out another coin, that's considered Yisurim. Even a level of disappointment is considered suffering. You know, it's a disappointment, it's an inconvenience, whatever it is. We don't know that illness, definitely, financial loss, trauma in life, this is suffering. And if he's suffering, do tshuva, fully atoned. You don't have to go through Yisuri Yov in this world. So why have to, when you pass away, to be atoned for that same sin, if you didn't do tshuva, you have to have something which every moment is more than the suffering and trails of Eov. Why? No, but tshuva is not enough. It's tshuva and Yisurim. But why? If the sin has to be purged from you, why do you need a lesser degree of purging? But again, there's a different part of the. It's what he says of the Chovos HaLevavos. When a person is punished, you could have a claim. You could react to it. Accepting it as kapara, that itself is the atonement. When a person dies, there's no accepting. You put there, you have to be purged. What degree of purging do you need to purge him? That every moment is the equivalent of Yisura Iyov. But in this world, when Hashem gives us any degree of suffering, if we process it properly and we implement our bechira and say we recognize and acknowledge that we're deserving and we have no questions, that itself is part of the purging process. To accept it with a proper mindset and a proper attitude.
And if you do
that itself, you don't have to suffer to that degree. The lesser suffering, when less is an understatement, is sufficient to bring about that atonement.
You can take away the mark.
You don't have to know. You don't have to know. Whatever it is, you accept it. I did tshuva, I regret whatever chet I did. Nobody has a perfect life. You suffer. You accept it, submit, I accept it. Hashem is dying emes, I accept it. There's nothing more to talk about. Sur Shav is something else. Sur Shav means that even though you don't deserve the punishment, Hashem makes your life difficult because otherwise there's no challenges. You understand? A person reaches a certain level and he has no reason to be punished. We say from Tzara. What determines the quality of schar? Right? If there's a challenge, because you show your dedication. But if a person is naturally goes 1,000 miles an hour without any effort, there's no challenges in long life. Hashem gives you a challenge. And despite the challenge, you're not distracted. Like the Gemara says, what's Yisur Shalava? Ein bo bittul Torah and bittul tefillah. The Gemara says in Brachos. It doesn't interfere with your Torah, doesn't interfere with your tefillah. That's the indication of Yisur and Shalava. To be continued. No. But we're beyond that. We're so flawed, so therefore for us it has no relevance.
There have been situations where there was terrible machla, and once Klal Yisrael realized, hey, you made this happen, just like you made it happen, you can take it away, and he takes away the machla. But it's the hakara that's where it's coming.
It's a story in Nach. David HaMelech legislated Meir brachos to say 100 brachos a day because there was a plague. And once he died, the plague stopped immediately.
Just like you made this happen,